Okay, so if I go into 13, so this is 13.2. So I know highlighting expired SSH or PAC credentials is, I think, being verified on staging is, I think, what I saw last. Let me double check that. It's in the verification workflow label, so I assume that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I think it's just maybe waiting for testing, but that looks like it's good to go. This one is actually already merged, I think. So I think it should be closed.
Sorry, where's your cursor? It's hard to see it.
Oh, sorry, this one here.
Yeah.
I think this one was already merged.
Would you scroll up to that screenshot for me? Sorry.
Sure.
Helps me remember what we're talking about. Yeah, it was merged. I think we're in verification, or maybe.
Oh, it's in review. Okay.
Well, I know it's not in review. It's definitely past review. I think that label's out of date.
Okay.
I'll pull that up and figure that out. But yeah, it won't be moving to 13.3. We know that for sure.
Okay. Let's see. Add MR approval settings column to the compliance dashboard. Yeah, that one was work in progress. But I think Rob said he had low to medium confidence that this would make 13.2 just from some earlier, I guess, challenges he had with another feature. So I'm expecting this one to slip, but that may change.
I think, there's some discussion back in the review process with the maintainer in terms of how this could potentially have been broken down further. So I think it's a little bit delayed in the review phase. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Do you happen to have that feedback, or should I just ping Rob separate?
I can locate that real quickly. Let me just note down the issue number. What is it? 217939.
So hang on. So this might be a bad example because I think this one is blocked by converting the dashboard to a table layout. And that one looks to be in review, which I'm assuming is what you're talking about.
Correct. So yeah, this table layout is a prerequisite for that, which is stuck in review at the moment. I believe, or am I looking at it? No, yeah, it is. Yeah, there's a lot of comments here. So if this doesn't get completed, then the MR approval settings column likely won't make it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think I've sort of accounted for that in the feature block, and I may just push that feature block to 13.3 because it's such a minor change. And then we have the adding merge request author being added as well. So I feel like we should just talk about those in the same one.
Okay. Seems reasonable.
And then the preference was I shouldn't touch these, right? Like I should just let it naturally apply like the miss label and then apply the new milestone.
Ideally, until we can get a point where we can like put them all on the same board. I don't know, perhaps labels will come to save the day yet again, but because obviously the missing part of that is, or not moving things, is that we don't know exactly without mentally crunching it, like are we matching our previous velocity or not? And then to be fair, that number is not completely final yet until 13.2 is wrapped up anyhow. Then we can look at historical, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's fine for me. Let's see. So so this is the one we were just talking about, project soft delete. Yeah, so this one I think is what Aisha's working on. And as a side note, this is one of the first changes that she's going to make to that confirmation modal, separate from the redesign.
You got it.
Okay.
And then the thing has been the source of all kinds of chaos and pain, but it's almost over.
Cool. Yeah, and I think she already kind of gave the thumbs up on the related feature block, telling me she had confidence in that one.
Cool. Good.
Background requirements. I don't really understand what this issue is. I know it's related to the instance level MR approval rules and like scoping it down, I think. but I mean, it has a weight of 5, and I'm not really clear on what it is since it looks to be primarily written for Tan to track on the back end.
Yeah. So this one is difficult for me to follow a little bit even now. So this, this is actually, if you scroll down to where the MRs are, I think we can find a screenshot. That first one, I think there's a screenshot in there. Yep. Yeah. There we go.
Okay, so that's the one I'm expecting. That's when I thought it was, but the issue itself is just written because I think Daniel had promoted this to an epic at some point.
Okay.
Because like this is what I envision when I'm thinking about that feature as far as like the issue goes. But then this one that Tan seems to be working off of, like all of this is just very back end heavy in terms of writing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you. I feel the same way. I don't know how that MR got connected with this issue, but yeah.
Okay.
That's what it is.
I don't think anything needs to change anywhere. So I guess I'll just leave that one alone and move on.
Looks like that's going to be closed off anyways, right? It's in verification.
Yep.
Yep.
Almost done.
So I think it was this one here and then blocks this one that were the two that seemed like they're going to most likely to slip. And then I'm not sure what this one is.
Is this a Ruby controller?
Looks like it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, backend label.
It looks like it's tied to audit events.
Okay. Okay, yeah, it looks like just some backend refactoring that Rob was thinking about doing. Is he actually working on this?
It doesn't seem.
It says blocked,
so.
but it doesn't indicate what it's blocked by. My assumption would be it's blocked by the refactor itself, or
Yeah,
Good
that'd
question.
be my guess.
Maybe we should ask.
Okay. I will leave that open as a note to ping him.
Do it live.
Oh, do it live. Okay. Going
Unless you don't want
through
to.
planning.
We're all watching you type. No time for that.
I don't want to jinx anything, but I'm not seeing a lot of backspace here.
Your use of emoji is adequate.
Adequate. Crap.
There we go.
All right. He's gonna see that and just be like, "What?"
He's so confused.
Okay, so I think that covers everything that's priority labeled, and then it looks like, okay, so these just don't have a priority on them for 13.2, is that right? In the open column?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think a lot of this is audit events refactor work.
Yep.
Yeah, and then like, there's a couple. I don't believe I've mentioned this yet, but there's like an ongoing effort from the front end side. Good filler work, I should say, to replace Font Awesome, or one of our older icon libraries, with our new icons from our design library.
You did mention that, yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, then I'm glad I did. Thanks, previous. But yeah, you'll see some issues in there just because that's like we're trying to attribute the work that we are addressing some of this from compliances in.
Okay.
It's not specific to compliance; it's just across the entire UI. But it's like a good filler work in between larger issues and things like that.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, cool. So does that mean then that there just wasn't enough like front end feature work? So we slotted in the filler work?
No, not necessarily. It's literally like if you're between reviews and you want something like super bite sized, like it takes maybe a couple minutes at a time to do.
Gotcha.
It's not. It doesn't imply anything that like we don't have enough compliance work or anything like that. It's just the lowest of low hanging fruit.
Yeah, sounds good. Cool. Yeah, thanks for that context. I mean, yeah, you had mentioned it before. I think on maybe the manage or the engineering PM weekly, maybe, because it sounds familiar. Okay, cool. So doc update for adding. Okay, that's not too important for planning, I don't think. Yeah, these are all weights of one, so I don't know if we necessarily need to go through every single one, especially the refactor stuff you're talking about. So I guess I'll just jump into 13.3 then, if that's cool.
Rock and roll.
So 13.3, the additional expiration job, I don't think is going to take much time at all. The MVC for the chain of custody report, I think, will also be fairly quick work, I'm guessing. Revoke tokens via API. I know Max was all over this, as well as the related one to list tokens via API,
Yep.
which I don't think that one has a milestone. Like because I don't have a photographic memory, there's probably like 3 to 5 issues that I feel like we're talking about committing to 13.3, and we just haven't yet. So I'm expecting maybe 3 to 5 to show up on here after today, but
Yeah.
because we still have tomorrow, at least before I'm out of office. I scheduled this today since there's no meetings Fridays, and then I suspect that we could maybe squeeze in some additional work the week I'm back, even though we'll have already concluded planning. Just if we find that there's some straightforward issues that don't require additional refinement, and given my being out next week, maybe why they'll lag behind a bit. Does that sound fair to y'all?
These 3 to 5 issues that might pop up. What's the easiest way to find these? Because I'll admit I'm getting cross-eyed from the different boards, and
Yeah.
the next step issue list is awesome. I don't know if it's part of that. But it seems like that's for 13.4, not 13.3. So I guess I would look at the 13.2. Yeah. So I'm answering my own question, but thanks for listening.
No, it's a good question. Let me see. So
I'm actually going through next step right now. So we have like a couple of terminology issues. We have the 2 related to the confirmation modal, the refactoring, and the actual changing of the text. You can get, I think, all that stuff in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those, I know, I think these 2 were pretty straightforward. I think there was some back and forth on this one. This was just basically summarize the total number of groups and projects that a user is a part of in the user list itself. And I think Max and Rob were just going back and forth to agree on like how many queries per user it was going to take. But I feel like that's something that we could probably refine to a point where we're ready to commit to estimation in the next couple of days. So that was one of them I was thinking of. I think this one, and there seems to be several tied to the project deletion experience that are like in smaller chunks that I feel like just have to be scheduled. But Dan, I don't know if you have a different perspective on that, because I know you've largely been running with that project.
Number of days to delay project deletion. Gosh, I'm like trying to place this in my mental map right now.
Yeah, let me see if I can find the, this, I think it's this one. Yeah, let's see, there's all of this related to it.
Yeah. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, I think we should knock out, what did, it was like, if you actually scroll up to that list, yeah, the bullet points here, I wanted to get down to at least making the language more consistent. So the top 3 top level bullet points. And then after that, it gets more optional.
So these, you said? Or are you
From
talking
bug
about?
fixes to make the language more consistent. The first 3 top level list items in that.
Yeah, so I want to do all the bug fixes, all of making the behavior more predictable, all of language more consistent. And after that, I get to a point where I don't care as much, whatever you want to do. But that's, I was hoping to get through.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So the first 6 links.
Yep.
Okay. First 6, including bug fixes, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like the first 6 sub bullet points. So
Okay.
that one, the next 3, and then the next 2.
Yep.
Yep.
And are these linked down here in the related or the issues, or?
Yeah, they should be.
Okay. Do you feel that these were at a place that needs refinement or needed to be refined?
Do
you recall?
So I think like the language consistency is just a dive in and get it done kind of a thing. Confirmation needing the namespace might need some more. It might just need estimation. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think the language change stuff is, I mean, I feel like front end or back end could do that. Dennis, do you care?
I don't.
Okay. So I see this is one of the ones that's been scheduled. Rename project delete. Okay. So does this feel like we could schedule this one then?
Why does it have a design label? I added that. I don't know why. Because it was 2 weeks ago. I can't actually remember why I added workflow design, but it might just be, oh, you know what? I think it was just because I wanted to get sign off from it, like at least from, like you two and maybe Mike,
Okay.
to just make sure it sounds good. So Mike signed off and, I think we're actually probably good to go on this. Yeah.
Okay. So just ready for dev then?
I think so.
Yeah. We can always
Do we need to wait it? Sorry.
Yeah, let's call it a 3 because the other one, which seems simpler than this, is also a 3. So it's at least that
I will not
complicated.
contest. Okay.
Gonna throw you all under the bus. Nobody can come tell me that I did this by myself.
Yeah,
Okay.
you've got it recorded.
For your reference, because the links are labeled differently than what the epic or issues are labeled as in the 3626 epic, improvements to delayed project deletion. If you refresh, I've ordered it in the same priority order in the description.
Wonderful.
Just know that the titles are not. I thought I ordered it. What? Hold on. Why is the first one not showing up? Deleted projects does not get deleted.
Did it just get closed?
Closed ones are not. You can't. That shouldn't happen then. Yeah. So the first one is deleted projects should not get deleted, but I can't move that to the first item because it's already been closed. So
Yeah. Okay.
as far as what's open, it's still in this existing order as described in the description.
Okay. Cool. Thanks for doing that.
Yep.
Did we finalize this? I know Austin had some thoughts about what have you, but I don't recall where he landed on his design. Do you, Dan?
For making the modal scarier.
I'm jumping around. For asking for the namespace during confirmation.
Oh yeah, I don't know that we actually need a design for that. I think whatever Austin designs in scarier modal should work. When we type in more to include the namespace. So yeah, I know he's including that here in his design, which is great.
Yeah.
So we can just use it for both, but we won't actually add that namespace checking functionality until that other issue.
Until this issue.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good to me. I was just bringing it up. So should I go ahead and schedule this, or it's already waited and ready for dev?
I'm just wondering if anything is blocked here. I mean, like this is probably blocked by the new modal, which is blocked by the view refactoring. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I think I'll set up that dependency.
Okay, cool.
I would say we could
maybe toss it in
schedule
13.4?
tentatively, but put it in workflow blocked.
Okay.
Or that. But I mean, I think once, because Jan will be working on it in 13.2, and maybe if it carries over, there's some remaining scope. So I think we can just set, if it's okay with you, we can set it up in 13.3 just as blocked, and then I'll make sure the dependencies are linked.
Oh, that's not a label, but yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think that takes care of the first 6, if I'm not mistaken. Because it's this one here, and then the next 5 for the bullet points.
Yeah.
Okay. And then so I'll work with Max and Rob tomorrow. Or I'll ping them today before I get off just to see if we can get this scheduled sometime tomorrow.
Cool.
Let's see. And then what else? I know there's some more audit events refactor work. I should say I'm confident there is, but Dan, I don't know if you have insight into what might carry over or get scheduled for 13.3.
It looks like there's a chance we're going to hit all 5 of the things that we're trying to hit in 13.2, and then we kind of move on to the next big round in 13.3. There's a discovery issue that I need to write about. Can we consolidate audit events into normal events?
Right.
Which is, something you and I have talked about. It feels like we've all talked about that. I'm going to finally write this discovery issue, and that might be the next phase.
Okay. And when you say next phase, does that mean that the first 5 we've done would allow us to do export audit events to CSV MVC?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Like without creating technical debt or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're far enough out of, like we're far enough through the technical debt woods that we can probably do this without creating a mess. So, and I know you really have been wanting it. So let's go ahead and pop it into 13.3 and see what we can get done there. And you know what, if we run into problems, and it's possible we may, in terms of like technical debt or whatever, but then we can just defer it. But I think we can give it a shot.
Sorry, so I might have missed something. So does the initial round that might be completed in 13.2 allow us to go ahead with the filtering?
Yeah. We basically, everything was in like a serialized hash in the database. We broke it all out into proper database columns so you can query it. So
sweet, cool,
much easier to work with now.
Nice.
And just for a confirmation, so the last I recall is this discussion where we talked about, it was basically ready. And then after that, we felt that there was, because again, Tan did the proof of concept, but I don't recall. So like if I were to schedule this for 13.3, is it actually good to proceed? Or do you think that we would need to kind of circle back for some minor refinement based on the work that y'all have done? And then follow-up question, sorry, is this in any way blocked maybe by the front end refactor with like the filtering and sorting and stuff?
I don't think that I don't think that this CSV download would be blocked. I think it's almost entirely a back end effort. All we need to do on the front end is add this little download button.
Okay.
Yeah, it shouldn't. I mean, it's in the same area, and I know we'll be adding the new filtered search functionality or component there, but it should, trademark, be relatively straightforward to add that button next to it, because we do have that pattern already in different areas with the new filtered search component.
Okay, I'll pop this into 13.3 then.
Worst case, it might have the tiniest of overlap, but we could probably just have the front end engineer, if we're still working on this part, the filter functionality, just add the button in a separate MR.
Yeah. And the other thing that we hadn't figured out on the back end side was, do we go with a streaming download, or do we do, some sort of emailed link to download after some post-processing? I think like the proof of concept for the streaming download was working. We're like 80 or 90% sure that's going to work. So I think we can move forward.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'll just pop it into 13.3. We can always adjust it when I'm back, or if y'all find something critical while I'm out. I mean, I trust y'all to make that decision.
Cool.
So then this would also move into ready for dev. I got that. And then I'm trying to remember if there was any reason why I shouldn't make this ultimate, but that's more for me than you, I guess.
Did we weigh this?
Oh, no, I guess we didn't.
Planning breakdown.
Yep. So we will leave that alone.
But we can have a short list to see if we can get these refined sooner rather than later.
Let me do this after this, since we only have a few minutes left. Let's see. I know everything tied to the 2-person approvals and API enabled is still going through some refinement, especially API enabled approval rules, since we had a bit of a pivot there. So I'll leave those alone. Cool. I think we can do the rest of this async. I'll spend tomorrow just combing through the next step stuff. I spent yesterday going through and kind of tagging some engineers and stuff to try to get some conversation going on the P2s. I might do the same on some P3s, especially as we're approaching the end of the milestone. Because I suspect some of those might be good candidates where they're already kind of straightforward, where it's basically just like move this existing setting from project level into group level. And I think all we would need to refine is, if it's like group level push rules, do we need to move like parts of it at a time versus the whole thing? But I think there's a couple of candidates for that we could start chipping away at as well.
Cool.
And then I guess tomorrow or whenever y'all have time, just let me know if there's kind of a desired amount of issues that we should try to fill with. I mean, I'm just going to keep plugging along because it feels kind of light to me, but also trying to keep in mind the balance we want to strike for refining next step issues as well.
For sure. And then I guess we'll take a look at all the weights afterwards and see where we end up with 13.2, or how do we want to kind of like draw the cutoff in terms of velocity, planning against velocity?
Do you have a suggestion?
We can use the previous like 13.1, 13.0 and just base off of that. And then at least that gives us a cutoff now versus waiting for 13.2. We can always adjust later if we need to.
Yeah, I think, I'm not sure if we should use the like final planning timeline as the cutoff or just the end of the milestone. I feel like end of the milestone is probably more fair because I'm assuming that's when things kind of slow down a little bit for feature work, but maybe not. Do y'all have a preference there?
I'm actually pulling data on what our velocity was. So velocity in June was only 20. That's not good. But May was 43. April was 17. Wow, we are all over the board. This is crazy. But we're already at 15 for July. So 30?
Question mark?
Yep. Side note, Dan, I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but the script doesn't print anything for me unless there's something I'm supposed to actually do after Ruby script.
No, that's odd that it doesn't print anything. We'll have to take a look, troubleshoot.
Yep.
Sorry, I think I maybe misunderstood you, Dennis, when you were asking about it. I was thinking about cutoff for when we determine our velocity on like refinement of next step issues versus future work.
Sorry, I'm talking about, that's why I was about to say I'm confused by your response on the timeline for end of milestone or something like that, because I'm specifically referring to cutoff of how many issues we're putting into 13.3 based on the velocity we've been able to deliver the last 3 months.
Gotcha. Okay.
Throughput in the original sense of it.
Yeah.
To understand if we've scheduled enough for too little or
okay.
Yeah. Knowing that we want to balance it against refinement.
Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll just spend tomorrow doing what I said, and then if we find that we're maybe over projected velocity, then I'll just move some of the like P3s or something into 13.4, because then maybe we can just pull them in last second if we find that we actually have capacity for it. And then I guess real quick before I let y'all go, I know we're at time, but I put this together. Just let's see if I can. Let's see.
I wanted to ask about the Steam logo.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Let's see if I can get this any closer. Let's see. Yep.
Yeah.
If you
Fry's is going out of business, so you might get some good deals. Neweg's a good source if you want to build it yourself, but if you want to go pre-built, you go Best Buy. So Dan, go buy a computer and come play video games.
Oh wow! All right. I got it all down. So send me a photo of that. This is great.
Thank you, Dennis, for narrating.
That was unplanned, by the way. I just saw the Steam logo and I was like, something's up there. So
awesome.
I was hoping it'd be more subliminal, but I think it was like too subtle because when it was just you and I on the call, you didn't say anything. I was like, oh man, I didn't make it obvious enough.
I saw the Steam logo up there and for some reason, I just didn't ask you about it. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder why that's up there. So funny. All right. I'm in.
Cool. Y'all have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
All right. Dude.
Bye.
Bye.